Hey everyone, my name is Josh with Chog Media. I'm here today to do our music review series, Off the Shelf. Off the Shelf is a show where I pull some vinyls off of my bookshelf over there in my growing vinyl collection, and I just sort of sit down with the album, review it, talk about it, and kind of give a more casual listening perspective. I think if there's anyone who is able to explain music stuff who does not have any sort of musical background other than audio editing, then I'm the guy for it. So we are reviewing the album Bambi by Hippo. Bambi is one of those albums that is sort of just their launching point into a more legitimate form of career. You see the band really come into their own here. They're experimenting with less traditional sort of sounds for the indie space, and they're getting into really contemporary, really just sort of ethereal kind of sounds. It's very MIDI focused, very synthesizer focused, and it's not something that you typically think to hear from a rock band or an indie rock band, but I think they balance it really well here, and it doesn't seem like they're juggling too much. I think if anything that this album struggles with, it's going to be that it kind of the narrative or the story of the album can come off a bit more like a sort of soap opera where these teenagers are arguing with each other and going crazy in the process about this breakup, and then it doesn't work as the sort of cliche story is coming to an end. But if anything, it's a fun, casual listen. It's also worth mentioning the remix EP of this album, which is going to be the demos version of this. I'm not going to be reviewing that right now, but it is a good listen overall. Talking about the songs, I would say that Mistakes and Anxious are probably going to be my more just okay tracks on the album. In my opinion, they sort of serve a very narrative purpose to the album. They're a little bit more lo-fi, a little bit more theoretical, especially on Mistakes. But again, that's something that in this time period that a lot of artists were trying to do to sort of have this world building when it comes to story. Is just a fun ride of a song overall. It's one of those songs where you just really just clean, really sharp sample chops, just grooving into what is going to be a sort of chill lo-fi song, and then all of a sudden the switch up of the song is going into just a nasty guitar solo, and it's just a fun song overall. I love what they were trying to do with the effects in the sound of the song. In terms of the lyrics, it's okay. It's repetitive and catchy and has a good hook to it. I don't feel like it's actually advancing the narrative of the album that much, but that's fine because it's a dope song. Then talking about Bambi, the foundation of the song is sort of rooted in just a simple drum pad beat. The whole song is just a fun groove and a fun vibe. Song that I love to put on for people, and no one is ever disappointed by it. The only time I will say I was disappointed by this song is listening to it live, because how they're doing it is they're doing it through MIDI effects, and it's just kind of comes off flat when they're playing it live. It just sort of seems like an afterthought of an effect and not necessarily like an instrument where it's portrayed in the actual edit of the song. It's a very prominent effect. It's played out almost as if it is an instrument, because it is. They're playing it off of a drum machine. Why Even Try, I felt like was a cute granola bitch song, something that you listen to on a hiking trail about these characters just sort of giving up on each other. It was good listen overall. Think It Over, I think, gets a lot more love on the demos version of this. It's good in the album, but I do feel like it is a little bit out of place. What it is doing good is it's really cool lo-fi track, really cool sort of mysterious, ominous hooks. I would assume that it's trying to sort of play into the mental nature and self-reflectiveness that these characters are, like you're trying to get in the head of these people, but I did not feel like it had a good place on the album. Bubbles is a fun track, and maybe Bubbles reinforces Think It Over a little bit, because listening back to it, I do really respect what it was trying to do. When you're actually reading out the lyrics of this album, it can kind of seem a bit tongue-in-cheek. The lyrics can seem a bit repetitive, as the character's saying, no, like, I'm an asshole, and this character's saying, no, you're an asshole, and it's like, well, we're both assholes, and we both love each other, but we both hate each other, and that's kind of sort of the lyrics of most of the songs. They're either talking about that, or they're talking about how much they are going crazy and how sad they are. And so hearing this song, it's good to actually see that when they were writing it, they actually thought about the perspective of what it must feel like to be in these characters' heads as they're sort of going from just just holding it together, being as calm as possible, to the music just literally crashing in over them and everything's getting crazy. I appreciate that the sound represented the story in this case. This is an example of why Hippocampus is really coming into their own here. They're actually able to tie in their composition, their music, their musical writing in with their actual story writing themselves. That's something that you see from people who are great at what they do. Honestly, I thought was honestly a little bit mid. Haha, I'm kidding, it's not that bad. It's a fun song. It's a fun song overall. I don't think it adds a lot to the album. It's a bit more of a narrative purpose, and it just feels like a sort of way to buy time as you go into what is one of my more favorite songs on the album, which is Golden. Golden is a dope song. It's grown on me a lot more as I've been listening to it in the review process of this. As the song has grown on me, I just love the guitars. I love the just super crisp picking of the song. I like the just sort of weird distorted vocal chain effects that they're working on with the song. The lyrics of the song are some of the stronger lyrics on the entire album. It sounds stupid, but it's sort of playing into this very abstractness of the art direction of this album. It's playing into disconnected mental state that these people are in. It's poetic in that sense. It's the line that, why is it I want to change for you? Why is it I want to see this through? Maybe I'm sick of sleeping longer nights with lesser feelings. Maybe I'm better off that way. Maybe I don't want to see you stay, but I'm sick of sleeping longer nights with lesser feelings. Again, it's not like a grammatically correct statement, but it's these characters are speaking out of stress and out of frustration and out of just not being in the right place mentally. And I appreciated that. I appreciated that on the song. Passenger is probably my biggest disappointment of the album. It goes on a little bit too long. It just did not feel necessary on the album. They're working with some good effects, but at the end of the day, if they had just ended the album on Golden, I would have been perfectly fine with that. Those are just a few thoughts I have on the album. Hippocampus as a whole, there's a good amount to unpack with them. I think a better way to articulate them would be from more of a traditional music understanding. But in my opinion, they are just one of those bands that are great for casual listeners of indie music. They're someone that I love putting on when I just have friends over at the house and I don't want to think about the lyrics too hard. I just want to think about a good sound. And this is a great album for it. This is an album where I feel like they really did up their production value and their sound quality. While the writing is a bit cliche on the thing, it's just a fun listen. Even seeing it live, it was a really good show to see live. What I will give this is 4 to 5 cranberries out of 7. So yeah, if you like this video and you want to see more of them, just keep watching the channel. It's that simple. But if you want a specific video made, what you can do is DM me, try and get my attention somewhere through legitimate purposes, and just send me a vinyl that you want me to listen to, and I will get to it eventually. That's how we're gonna do things here. That way, I'm actually, like, if I'm spending a couple hours a week with these albums, I wanna be able to categorize them properly and add them to a collection. I don't know what I'm gonna do